Bună dimineața, dragi prieteni! Sunt sigură că, indiferent de care parte a ecranului ne aflăm, suntem toți de acord că sustenabilitatea trebuie să fie parte din ADN-ul unei companii, o componentă esențială a tuturor acțiunilor, fie că vorbim despre un produs, distribuție sau producție. A fi sustenabil presupune o schimbare de paradigmă în care înțelegi că orice acțiune a ta are un impact asupra mediului. Acesta este un aspect care trebuie să fie prezent în strategiile de dezvoltare ale companiilor. Dacă o societate ar fi sinonimă cu sustenabilitatea, atunci cu siguranță aceasta ar fi cea suedeză. Situată în cea mai sustenabilă țară din lume, companiile suedeze sunt apreciate ca lideri în implementarea politicilor de mediu. Aceasta ar fi doar una dintre motivațiile pentru care am apelat la Ambasada Suediei din București, susținători ai Guerrilla Verde, pentru a putea avea astăzi alături de noi trei dintre cele mai apreciate companii suedeze, și anume Oriflame, reprezentată astăzi de Antonia Simon-Stenberg, Vice President Sustainability, Ericsson, reprezentată de Rossella Cardone, Head of Sustainability and Corporate Responsibility, welcome Rossella, H&M Group, Julia, reprezentată de Julia Sevindic, Europe Region Sustainability Manager. Welcome, Julia. În următoarea oră veți avea ocazia să le adresați întrebări prin intermediul paginii de Facebook, întrebări la care vor răspunde în limita timpului rămas, cu promisiunea că vom răspunde acestor întrebări și după terminarea întâlnirii. Ideile principale și concluziile întâlnirii de astăzi vor fi prezentate săptămâna viitoare pe GuerrillaVerde.ro. Înainte de a începe, aș vrea să adaug că dialogul va fi purtat în limba engleză, fără traducere simultană. So, for more than a decade, Oriflame has been systematically trying to reduce its impact on nature and constantly looking at ways to engage its consumers around more sustainable use of natural resources. By 2030, Oriflame aims to reduce its environmental footprint by 50% per unit of product produced. So, Antonia, what is the strategy that Oriflame has proposed so far, and what are the direction of action to achieve these goals by 2030?
Well, hi everyone. I am super happy to be here. Happy to be speaking to everyone in Romania. For me, it's this pandemic is bringing with it some unexpected advantages. I'm able to speak at conferences in different countries without having to travel. I was happy to do that before, but maybe not everyone else. But I think we're realizing the ability to communicate, and I'm sure Ericsson will have some comments on that in a second as well, across the world in a very easy way. To come back to your question, I can share my screen. I've got a couple of slides, very easy. Let's see here if that is happening now. You let me know if you can see can you see my screen? No.
Yes, we see your screen.
Okay, good.
We are waiting.
And you can see my slides as well.
Now, yes. And now it's full screen. Everything looks great.
Good. And so as most of the people calling in, but maybe not everyone know, we're a cosmetics company, a social selling cosmetics company that's been around for over 50 years. And joining this company 10 years ago, I was I've been passionate about environmental issues my entire life. I'm a biologist, I'm an ecotoxicologist. I've been working in environmental issues for over 25 years. And joining a company where the founders of the company had as part of their values document written 40 years ago saying we need to be a good corporate citizen respecting the environment was for me obviously an incredibly positive environment to be in. But as a company, we are really selling two things. We're first of all selling a business opportunity, entrepreneurship through our social selling business model. And then we're also selling cosmetics. And obviously this whole, we want to create more business opportunity, enable more fabulous, cool entrepreneurial women to make a difference for their own lives and their families' lives and their communities' lives. But this should not come at the cost of the environment. So our challenge is, how do we increase the business opportunity that we offer these wonderful women who work with us without negatively impacting the environment? And I think my base here is very much saying, okay, before we were able to tackle that challenge, we need to understand how are we impacting the environment. And that's really where my basis is. What are we doing that is negatively impacting the environment, and how can we stop doing that, do it differently, do it better? And in this work, we've identified a number of key areas in which we do impact the environment. Well, first of all, selling cosmetics companies in over 60 countries, manufacturing in 6 different countries and shipping around the world, we obviously do have an impact on climate. So that's one area. Another area is selling products often in cardboard packaging, using catalogs made of paper to sell. Our impact on the forests around us and biodiversity is also impressive and also needs to be managed. And last but not least, one of the key areas we're impacting as well is, considering we sell a lot of shower gels, soaps, shampoos, and products along those lines, how do we not only impact water at manufacturing where we produce the products, but also at the end of life? Because if people are using our products and then letting them run out into the showers in their local countries, that will have an impact, especially in those markets where wastewater treatment facilities and so on are not up to speed. So these are 3 of the key areas in which we're working. And to be fair, or to be very clear, we're working much broader than this, but to simplify from a communication point of view, these are probably 3 of our key areas. So let me tackle these one at a time. So if we first move to the area of climate, as I mentioned to you previously, being an international company based in over 60 countries and selling and producing hundreds of different new products every year, obviously we will have an impact on the environment and on climate, on CO2 emissions. So what was my first challenge here? We need to reduce our own emissions. We need to reduce emissions from manufacturing, from distribution, from logistics, from our own offices, buildings, and travel, etc. And in the past years, we've actually managed to have our emissions. We are now above the 48%. This was for the 2019 numbers. To have our emissions in absolute terms, our CO2 emissions. And we're continuing on this track. So for me, obviously, we need to reduce our emissions. We're doing that in part by sourcing renewable electricity in all of our own facilities. And in part, and then in addition to this reduction of having our own emissions, for all of our remaining emissions, we are actually compensating through various carbon compensation projects, forest planting projects, and so on. So our own emissions from our own manufacturing, distribution, offices, travel, consultant conferences, et cetera, is actually currently carbon neutral. So that is something we're very, very, very proud of. Again, compensation is just part of the solution. The key issue is about reducing our emissions, where we've come far, but we're not ready yet. And we're now looking, going forward, to saying, how can we do this again in the next 10 years? How can we have it further and reduce it even further? So that's one of the key areas we're working in. Another key area we're working in is, as I mentioned before, is the forest area. Obviously, we use a lot of forest-based products in our business, in particular when it comes to our catalogs, which many of you are aware. Even though our business is shifting much more online and we're becoming much more of a digital social selling company, there is still quite a few countries where the catalogs are the key selling tool. And then secondly, we have a lot of board and paper packaging materials. So in order to ensure that we're doing this in dealing with this properly, we make sure that all of our cardboard packaging is either from recycled material or from FSC certified sources. And the same goes for our catalog material, which is currently all of it from credibly certified sources. And then in addition to that, we're involved in various projects where we are reforestation projects and forest protection projects. Last year for 2019, the number was 6 million trees. And this is something we're continuing with year on year to do. And then last but not least, another area where we impact the world around us is water. So first of all, it is the water we use during, now there is a bit of a background noise. I hope everyone can still hear me. But first of all, it's to get around the water that we are using in our manufacturing facilities. So how can we be as efficient as possible there? And the last bullet on this slide is really, how do we make sure we use less water per unit produced? So this is where we're experimenting with waterless products. We're looking at efficiencies in our manufacturing facilities and so on. But we're also looking to make sure that we don't have a negative impact on water at the end of life of when our products are being used. So as I was mentioning up front, if you have a shower gel and you are in a country where wastewater treatment facilities are not up to speed, that whatever you shower will go down the drain and will ultimately reach a stream or a river or a lake near you, or the groundwater. And that's why we need to make sure that all the products we develop will not have that negative impact. So all our new face and body rinse-offs are biodegradable. We don't have any plastic beads. All our exfoliants are of natural origin. We're looking at almond seeds, olive seeds, these types of things. So for us, understanding the impact we have on the world around us, on the air, on the forests, on the water, all around us, and taking action to make sure we minimize that is hugely important. Then it was my presentation, because when I clicked, it stopped making sounds. So coming back to the question you were asking in the beginning, Nicoletta, there is around what are we doing? Well, we're just ending 1 decade where we have taken a lot of steps and done a lot of good things, and moving on to the next stage, the next decade, where we're now setting targets and goals to actually have our environmental impact per unit produced, per unit we sell, during the next 10 years. So considering we've tackled a lot of the easy wins and the low-hanging fruits already, it's going to be a tough challenge, but it's one we are pursuing. We're pursuing it by changing what types of products we sell, how we sell them, where we sell them. I don't believe the future of the cosmetics industry 20, 30 years from now will be around selling creams in little pots and pans. It's going to be changing significantly. And I believe all women want to look beautiful. I believe our business opportunity enabling women to have a business and create a business opportunity for themselves through selling beauty products, that will exist. But the format of doing that will be very different. And the environment will play a key part in changing how our industry looks going forward. And it's a journey we're on, and it's a journey we're really looking forward to tackling. So I'm very happy to be working in a company where this is front and center of everything we do. I have a quick film, if we have 1 minute, that I could show that just summarizes what I said in an easy way. And let's see if this works.
Yeah, let's try it.
If it doesn't, we'll skip it. If it does, we'll try. So let's see. It does, but it doesn't.
Yes.
It's not going. Give me 2 seconds. I need to remove you guys. Let's see if we can make it big. If it doesn't work, this is something we will send out. But make it big, please. One last chance. And if it doesn't work, we give up on this. I guess we have to show the small picture here. So we'll do it that way instead. No. And I apologize for the small picture. Hopefully it works anyway.
Because we're from Sweden, nature holds a special place in our hearts. It's part of who we are and how we live. It's where we go to re-energize and reconnect. Nature inspires us to create the beauty products we love. But nature is precious, so we need to protect it. We want future generations to enjoy it as much as we do before it's too late. That's why we're doing everything we can to rethink and redo how we make our products. We use 100% green, renewable electricity and protect and plant millions of trees each year. 100% of our paper and cardboard packaging is sustainably sourced. And we're creating more water-friendly, biodegradable beauty products. We've come a long way. Our own manufacturing is already climate neutral. We're not done yet. We're determined to make an even greater difference and become fully sustainable. For a better, more beautiful tomorrow.
So that is very much, I'm going to stop sharing my presentation now. That was very much a quick kind of easy film to summarize what I was saying. And I think being from Sweden, like the other companies that are speaking here, caring and respecting nature is something that kind of comes with our, it's what we're raised, how we're raised to think. And I think it's an honor to be working with companies that do take this seriously, and hopefully this will inspire others to do the same, because it's the right way to do, and it's what's going to make us successful both from a business and from a general point of view.
Thank you. And indeed, the future is green. The future of the beauty industry is also green, as we already saw. And I hope we will continue this dialogue with Oriflame Romania to see what are the efforts that they are doing here. But thank you, Antonia. I will get back to you at the end of the meeting with the Q&A session. And let's start now with Rossella. For Ericsson, I will address the next question. So in the latest Wall Street Journal ranking, Ericsson was named one of the world's most sustainable companies. Ericsson is a pioneer in using ICT, information and communication technology, also known as IT. Ericsson is using this technology to address environmental issues and boost socioeconomic development. ICT has a unique potential to enable other industrial sectors to move towards the low carbon economy, and that will be central to mitigate climate change. According to Ericsson research, ICT solutions could help to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 50% by 2030, while being responsible for less than 2% of the global carbon footprint. So, Rossella, how digitalization can be used for decarbonization and sustainable development?
Thanks a lot, Nicoletta, and thanks to... Can you hear me? Hope yes.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay.
A little bit slow, but you can speak louder so that it will be...
Okay.
Okay,
yeah.
Now it's great.
Yeah. So, hi everybody, and thanks, Nicoletta, for this great introduction. And thanks to the organizer for inviting me here to this brilliant initiative. Hope you also can see some slides from my side.
We see the screen. You can try now full screen.
Yes, thank you. So, meanwhile, the system works. So let me start with the question, which is about our experience and knowledge about digital. Everybody, each of us today, use digital connectivity. You know, we are all connected with our own smartphone, tablet, laptop. But how much do we know about the carbon footprint of digital? For example, and this is just an example, did you know that carbon footprint for a transatlantic flight return for a person counts the same amount of carbon emission of the usage of a smartphone for 50 years? So a smartphone usage for 50 years, carbon emission counts for just one transatlantic return flight. So this is to tell you, so it's very important. This is part of our life, right? I'm Rossella Cardone, heading up sustainability and corporate responsibility at Ericsson for Europe and Latin America countries. And as my previous colleagues, I'm really lucky to work for a Swedish company like Ericsson, having sustainability very, very high top into the agenda. So let me spend very few words about the company I work for. Ericsson has a presence, let me say, everywhere in the world, in more than 180 countries. And what we do, we research, design, and produce those telecom products, telecom infrastructure that make each of us connected through mobile telephony, like a smartphone, that make us connected through mobile internet, enabling every kind of services wherever we are, on the bus, in the car, and so on. And connect everything around us, all the things we may know about Internet of Things. And this is going to be boosted dramatically in a hyperscale with 5G networks, which is the area where we are leading right now, where every country right now is investing or looking for the next decades. Ericsson started impressively more than 140 years ago with the promise to bring access and communication affordable to everybody. So over the years, we have written about our business, our solution, always to innovate our technologies for good. And what you see here is a telephony switchboard at the beginning of last decade. Now, and let me go into the specific topic of this webinar. We know climate change is real. It's really important to start climate action. We know that, we know very well that this year, or last year, sorry, so 2019 has been the second hottest year according to NASA. We could see thousands of fires along the coast. We could see devastated forests and also floods in many places. And just to give some figures, so if we compare the last decade since 2010 versus the decade of 1980, the fatalities due to the extreme weather condition have been doubled. And even the cost due to extreme weather are 4 times more. So this is really, really incredibly worse and worse decade by decade. When it comes to Ericsson, what we did, first of all, in 2016, we supported the Paris Agreement to halve emission every decade between today, 2020, up to 2050. And this is very important for all companies, for all countries. It's, let me say, an important big collaboration we need to embrace, including our customers, including our suppliers, and of course, starting with us as company. And as we started as a company, in 2017, we set challenging reduction targets around environment, which were already approved at that time from the Science Based Targets initiative. We were among the handful companies into the ICT, internal communication, information and communication technology sector, to be approved with science-based target. And right last year, we committed, we embraced this challenging commitment to be carbon neutral by 2030. And let me say, we feel we are pioneering this, at least into the ICT sector, since we started our first environmental reporting 27 years ago. Sustainability, environmental sustainability is fully integrated into our company business strategy, is into the center. And what we do, we look at our own impact, we look at our products' impact into the ICT sector, and in a larger extent, as a third horizon, we look at our impact into the overall society. And of course, we connect our contribution in our everyday activity, not just as few examples. In our everyday activities, we connect to the UN, United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Again, starting with Ericsson, what we do every day. we committed this ambitious target to be carbon neutral by 2030 in our scope 1 and scope 2. That means in our own operation. But what we did already during the last decade, so we reduced already 50% of our CO2 emission between 2012 and 2017, and now we expect to further reduce by 35% our CO2 emission by 2022. So we have a clear roadmap when it comes to our own emission. But this is not enough when it comes to our sector, the ICT. We want our supplier to be on board with us. Otherwise, that's not enough. So what we collaborate, we engage, we encourage our supplier to be committed on carbon targets according to the Science-Based Targets initiative. And of course, our products are critical to enable our customer to, let me say, contribute to the climate action to be more sustainable. We spent the last 10 years in our research and development to make our portfolio efficient and much more energy efficient with 1 magnitude more into this shift from the 4G to the 5G of the new mobile telecom communication. And let me go into the specific. For example, when it comes to us, just this year, we started early this year, the new 5G products factory in US. Environmental sustainability was in the center of our mind and our strategy of this production site for Ericsson through the latest technology capabilities like using drone for surveillance, using autonomous grounded vehicle to move components along the factory, among the factory, but also using sensors across the factory. We are now saving energy consumption along our production. We are using 100% renewable energy, but also when it comes to water, we are saving 75% of indoor water usage. We found a way to use a new or enhanced innovative gallon water system, making us independent on the public water. So all of this is decreasing dramatically the CO2 emission. And of course, we are really proud of this. This is not the only factory, of course, of Ericsson, but this is what we are doing. Now looking at our customer, at the trend and also the challenge in our ICT sector, you may know about 2G, 3G, 4G. These are the generation of telecom networks that make us all connected. What's the challenge in our sector is that per each previous generation, we could see an increase of demand of bandwidth and coverage everywhere, since all of us want to have more data for all of us as a consumer, all of us as enterprises, we need more data through digital. And the networks becomes hungry of bandwidth and coverage, and this leads to energy consumption and more. And now we are iterating again this. But at Ericsson, we found a way, let me say, to flat the energy curve through the 5G portfolio from Ericsson. You see some figures here. We are enabling our customer to flat or even lower into their telecom infrastructure network, the energy consumption. This is very, very important, since we know that today, annually, the cost of energy consumption for all networks in the world is $25 billion, which is not sustainable at all, both from cost and environmental perspective. And these are some examples. For example, our customer, Vodafone, you may know the brand, of course. They are using these, and you see some figures about, the new modernized network in the London city. and also in Portugal now are much more greener in terms of energy consumption. Now, look at the other sectors, other industries. The point is now, how can connectivity enable other industries, sector transition to a lower carbon future, to a lower carbon emission? This is the question. This was, Nicoletta, your question, right? And we've spent several years, I would say 25 years, in studying, researching, and connecting the role of digital connectivity with the environmental impacts into the other sectors. And we found, together with other prominent research institutes, that the digital transformation in any other sector, all in all, average can lower CO2 emission impacts by 15%. I'm referring to sectors very, let me say, with CO2 emission footprint very impactful, like logistics and transportation, energy and utilities, building, mining, but also food and agriculture. These are the sectors I'm referring to, which of course through digital connectivity becomes more competitive, becomes more efficient and productive, but at the same time becomes much more environmental friendly, more safe as well. And if we look at what we can do together in partnership with other customers who are telecom operator customers into this sector, let's, for example, look at the transportation. We are partnering with the Swedish telecom operator Telia, with Schenker, and with Enride, who is a company into the business producing autonomous driverless trucks. We've started this project, and the initial results are really encouraging. They are leveraging on our 5G technology capabilities, and we could see that through this, they can enable CO2 emission less by 90%. 90% less is incredibly. And through this transition toward this kind of new transportation system, they can also reach 60% of cost saving, which makes the overall business case much more, let me say, overall sustainable to enable the overall digital transition to this kind of new transportation system. But let me add also that this is also very, very sustainable from fatalities, safety for people perspective, since this kind of system address zero fatalities target. And we know that every year, more than 1.5 million people die just due to the transportation. So we should look also at this challenge as well. Moving into the other example, and I really love this example. This is in Germany, together with the Fraunhofer Institute and together with the Blisk. So Blisk is a company producing components in manufacturing, and these small components, the ones that you see to this slide, are mounted into aircraft. Through the use of 5G technologies they are leveraging now, they could improve, I simplify, all in all, the quality of these products. Those are now perfect. And through this, of course, they are minimizing rework in production along their production processes, which lead to better productivity, less waste of materials, and of course, efficiency. You see some numbers. But really the beauty of this case is that the perfect quality of this product, when mounted into the aircraft, you know how much is relevant to the pollution of aircraft when in usage. So the use of this enable the saving of 60 million metric tons emission, which is equivalent annually, just to give an idea, of a city, of the pollution, CO2 emission emitted by a city of 1.4 million inhabitants. It's like a city of Stockholm. CO2 emission less per year. Just, let me say, improving the quality of the small components mounted into an aircraft. So these are examples of digital transformation applied into different industrial sectors like manufacturing, like before transportation, enabling this kind of enterprises to minimize and moving toward, let me say, climate action. This, of course, this is my last slide, and my message is that, of course, digital enable each of us as person, as consumer, you know, to stay connected and to enjoy through communication, in particular during this pandemic time. But from industrial perspective, 5G is and will be the enabler technology that will transform the industries and make them sustainable, like 4G and the previous telecom generation could really transform our life as people, as we know. So that's all from my side, and I really hope that this experience and this message from my side can inspire all of you committed and involved into the sustainability work, into the climate action. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rossella. You are representing an industry that it's very important, especially in these times we are living. Indeed, the data, we are using more data, we are using more technology, and your solutions that you are proposing in reducing the impact on the environment are really impressive. Thank you, Rossella. I will get back to you on the final thoughts if you would like to add something. I will go now to Julia, to H&M. H&M, with a strong sustainability commitment, aims to lead the change towards a circular and new and renewable fashion industry. H&M is applying circular economy principles to its sustainability strategies, both for commercial and non-commercial goods such as packaging. These are just some of the directions H&M is focusing on. So Julia, what is actually the H&M Group sustainability strategy, and what is your approach on that?
Thank you, Nicoletta. First of all, hello and good morning. Thank you for inviting us as H&M Group to this great platform and enabling us to express our sustainability vision and share our agenda with the Romanian colleagues. During my presentation, I will go through our sustainability vision, but a little bit also touch upon to the very difficult situation we are living through and how it's impacted our work and what we see as in the long term and in future in terms of relation with the sustainability agenda. So I can start on the next slide, going through our company vision. And thank you, Nicoletta, by the way, helping me for presenting the document. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it. So I can first of all start saying that H&M Group is very well known with H&M brand, but we are a group of companies. So as I can say that H&M is one of the biggest brand in the group, but we have brands COS, Weekday, Monkey, Arket, Another Stories, H&M Home, and A-Found in the group of companies. So when I talk about our strategies, all these targets and ambition level is the same for all brands. So it is mainly the group strategy, even though there might be some customer focused detail, different activities, but the main agenda is the same for all our group brands. From very first day of 1947, where H&M was established, our business has been always about making the fashion and the joy it can bring accessible to everyone. So democratizing the fashion, what had previously been a privilege of the few. saying that our sustainability vision is to lead the change towards circular and climate positive fashion while also being fair and equal company. We have three main focus areas as try to share on the screen. One of them is leading the change. The second one is circular and climate positive. And the last one is fair and equal. While we have these three main focus areas, and I will explain the details later on, we believe we cannot do the changes alone. Therefore, we have colleagues, we have customers, we have business partners and experts being with us during this journey. So we can only do this change if we engage with many stakeholders. And we also believe that not only this is for only our supply chain, we also believe that we should do this change for the industry. We can go to next slide to a bit deep dive on the details of what it means 100% leading the change, 100% circular and climate positive, and 100% fair and equal for H&M Group. At H&M Group, we consider that we need the needs and presents, the needs of present and future generation. Not only we think about now and future as well, and that the entire business must be conducted with economically, socially, and environmentally sustainably. And therefore, our focuses on leading the change is promote and scale the innovation. As H&M Group, we really believe in the innovation is the key considering the future, because we don't only think that the available resources or available materials is today is enough to do these changes. Therefore, we promote and encourage innovative companies and innovations. Transparency is the second important topic for us, and we can say that we have by group H&M Group ranked #1 in the latest Fashion Transparency Index, which also shows that this ambition, we are going in the right direction. And we also, as mentioned earlier, believe that we can only do this change together with our partners, and we give a very high priority on rewarding sustainable actions also within our supply chain. The second biggest agenda, circular and climate positive. So what is the details or the content of this focus area is to have a circular approach to how we produce the product, how we design it, how we produce it, and how it is used. So as we mainly talking about the garments, the material is the biggest share of the garment. It is more than 50% of the product. So we aim to use only recycled and only sustainably sourced materials. Create and climate positive value chain, which is the main three pillar of being 100% circular and climate positive agenda. When it comes to fair and equal, of course, while doing this and working with all our entire supply chain, providing fair jobs to all, and being a really champion in terms of inclusion and diversity is our key focus areas on the 100% fair and equal agenda. On the next slide, as you mentioned, Nicoletta, I can give more details about being circular and climate positive. Yes, our ambition, H&M Group ambition, is to become fully circular and the climate positive. So how we can achieve that target is meaning that we should optimize the resources and minimize the waste we give to landfill. So that starts with the designing of the product, how it's produced, and how it reaches to customer and how the customer use this product. Therefore, within the company, as mentioned before, we have really a clear target to achieve 100% recycled and sustainably sourced materials only in 2030. We had a target to be 100% sustainably and recycled sourced cotton, and we achieved that in 2020. So all our cotton that we use in our products is only coming from either recycled materials or sustainably sourced cotton. And we really give high importance to inspiring our customers, because we also believe that after selling the product, there is another continuity in the life cycle of the product. So we are inspiring and helping customers to keep their products as long as possible. So we have H&M's Take Care program, where we try to share our experience, how they can treat the products, how they can use and keep them give them a long life. And additionally, since many years back, we have a garment collecting activity in our shops. So our customers, it doesn't have to be only H&M product. They can bring any product that they don't want to use and they don't want to use it any longer to our shops. So we give them an easy access to bring their clothes, so that those products can be recycled or gain another life. And therefore we can minimize the waste on the landfill. So on the next slide, again, I can explain a bit more on the circular and climate positive in terms of materials. Therefore, as I mentioned previously, our aim is to only source from recycled and sustainably sourced materials in 2030. And today, it's around, if you look at the 2018 figures, or this year, about 57% what we achieved today. So we have a way to go, but all our strategy is set based on this target. On the next slide, I can also give you a bit of update that which shows that we are going on the right direction. H&M Group is selected as one of the world's largest user of recycled cotton, according to Textile Exchange Initiative in their report. And also in terms of sustainable cotton ranking, the NGOs WWF and Solidaridad Pan UK is assessing 77 companies. Again, H&M ranked as third in terms of using the sustainable cotton is in the highest amount. So on the next slide, I can touch upon the how we consider circular and climate positive and circular business model. What is our target in terms of being climate neutral and positive? In 2030, we aim all our supply chain to be climate neutral. And when it comes to climate positive, that target is the year 2040. So we believe that it's a great milestone on our climate positive journey to have our goals approved by Science Based Target Initiative. Therefore, our science-based targets are to reduce emission in our own operations by 40% by 2030, which we consider 2017 as a baseline year. And saying that, another important point is to, of course, reduce emission outside of our operations, like the raw material purchasing, fabric production, etc. And increasing the renewable electricity in our supply chain, 100% renewable electricity, which is the target for year 2030. On the next slide, I can touch upon the chemicals, as we give our customers customers' health is important, as well as the environment. All our products, how we can secure the chemical part of it, and how we make sure it is safe for our customers. Therefore, we have a goal to be 100% toxic-free fashion brand, and which is starting with the target of zero discharge hazardous chemicals milestone, I would say. And overall strategy is that chemical identified as hazardous should neither be used in our production nor to be present in our products. On the next slide, I can very briefly say a few words about to be a fair and equal company. We really focus on the human rights, wages, and working conditions in all our supply chain, while we are focusing on such heavy environmental agenda and targets, but making sure that human rights, wages, and working conditions are based on our set targets, not only focusing on the one dimension, but at the same time being fair and equal is as important as focusing on the environment. On the next slide, just recently, we shared our ambition on biodiversity with our sustainability vision of becoming 100% circular and climate positive, which is by 2040. We will also take big leaps in decreasing the negative impact on biodiversity. We must do more, we believe in that. We must reduce our footprint even further and start to restore deprived areas. That is also just recently shared with our stakeholders as well. On the next slide, I can touch upon a little bit COVID impact to industry. As mentioned earlier, we consider the needs of present and future, considering the COVID impact and the textile industry, which contributes to economic growth, employment, and stability in the sector. We believe that we can learn from this period of time and take some steps for future. So therefore, what we learned and what the actions will be taken on the next slide, which is what we learned as we are right now, another example, having a digital meeting, digitalization and communication through digital platforms and online sales shown a great increase. And what we see, the sustainability demand from the customer is also increasing, which is really good. As I mentioned earlier, we can only do the change together if we are driving this together with customers and with our supply chain. Investment will go on green, which is also very much important for us, because that's also our targets in future, and circular economy, which we believe that learning from the COVID impact, also companies and governments have to collaborate. This is not a solution only one company or one country can solve. It should be solved all together. I want to finish my presentation with our CEO, Helena Helmersson's saying in one of her speech, it is now more important than ever that companies and governments show leadership and standing by their commitments in climate action. So, and I really hope that the presentation give you an insight from H&M perspective, how we see it and how we look at the future. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Julia. It's clear for me and probably for the audience that from your presentation, the common word I also heard from you is innovation, especially when it comes to climate, to mitigate the climate change. The innovation is very important, and it's obvious that if Sweden is investing and is supporting so much the innovation, your strategies, your CSR plans are really working, and as you already presented, there is an evolution, a visible evolution. I will stay with you, Julia, because I will address you the questions we received. We are now at the Q&A session. And when it comes to H&M, how much of the clothing collected from the recycled bins are really used, reused, or recycled? And another question is related to what textiles, fiber techniques do H&M use to ensure that your products are sustainable? Most probably you pointed that details in your presentation, but please highlight the information again for our audience.
Okay, thank you. I start with the first question. We have been collecting the garments in our stores, and these garments are categorized after collecting them. Firstly, we try to look into, we are working with the partners there, not only H&M driving this activity, the partner experience in this field, they are looking into garments, whether they can be reused or has to be recycled. So there are different categories when we receive when they receive the products. The ones that is usable, it gains another life, it's reused, but the ones really thrown and not possible to use, it is breaking to a fiber level, and from there to yarn. And even in some of our products, we like denim products, we use used and return to a new life yarn in certain percentage. So this is how we look at when we collect the garments. Firstly, reuse them, and the second, if they are not used, try to make sure that is used in a fiber level or yarn, etc.
Okay, and about the traceability, sorry?
Yeah, the next question was about what type of, can you repeat the question again?
Yes, just a second, please. What textiles, fiber techniques do you use to ensure that your products are sustainable?
We use different fibers in our products, and we have for recycle materials certain traceability method and standards to secure that. For the other type of product, we are looking into the innovations, which those innovations, before we accept them, we make sure they meet our traceability requirement. We make sure that it is coming from the sources that H&M accept as a recycle or sustainable material, and follow that during the production. Hope it is clear.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you. A question for Oriflame. Antonia, what are the innovations used to solve the problem of packaging recycling?
Of packaging recycling or I mean, basically, well, first of all, there's two bits and pieces. You have to make sure that it's recyclable, so it can be recycled. And then you have to make sure it actually happens in practice. So, and then you have to use recycled materials in the products. So we're working on all of those three areas. First of all, to make that sure that it's recyclable. There are certain colors that are more difficult to recycle. So avoiding very harsh black colors, for example. You can, with labels on the outside of the packaging, you have to have adhesives that are easy to wash off so that the material can be recycled again. So there are a number of those types of actions we're taking. I mean, there's new regulation coming in the EU requiring that all packaging is recyclable. We are obviously trending far ahead of that regulation, but we have a couple of areas which are more difficult. Lipsticks, for example, where you have combined materials, you have metallized plastics in combination with metal pieces and so on, and different types of plastics. That's more difficult. So we're working on those types of topics. That's challenging. Whereas our bottles, shower gel, soaps, those types of things are very easy to do. And there we've already achieved that. Does that help answer the question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Antonia. And the question for everyone, I will start with Rossella. So this question is for each one of you. You will answer if you want. Anyway, there are few minutes until the end of our meeting. So Rossella, do you have innovative projects in the company? What role plays sustainability in them? And if you can give some examples.
Yes, absolutely. First of all, sustainability plays a key role into the innovation process for Ericsson. Since innovation for us, it means technology innovation, business innovation, and sustainability innovation. When it comes to technology innovation and business innovation, you may understand this is about how the technology itself that we lead. So we are a technology producer, researcher. So what we do into innovation into the technology. The business side of innovation is how we enable our customer and other industries through digital to innovate their business with new business model, with new revenues, with efficiency. But the third angle is equally important, which is sustainability. How our technology is innovating, enabling sustainability benefit, sustainability value, both for our customer, and this is strictly into our ICT sector, the information and communication sector. But what's the innovation into sustainability? Like, for example, food and agriculture. If we connect farmers, what does it mean? And this is the kind of project, and I come into the example concretely. For example, in Brazil, we are working with farmers, connecting them, enabling them through communication and in the Internet of Things, sensors and so on, to connect in real time information which can be analyzed, processed, and providing to farmer information, how much water to use, not just in a flat way every day, but based on real condition in the ground, according to the substances available already in the ground, or according to the weather forecast and so on. So this leads, for example, to less water usage, but also, for example, less fertilizer, since through other sensors connected real time, so farmers can be smarter into the way they use, let me say, natural resources, and also to improve quality of their product. This is one example, but this is for agriculture. And this happened in the example I shared before, like transportation and manufacturing, but also for smart cities. So these are really innovation, technology innovation happening, transforming those sectors from business perspective, since business side shall be sustainable, manageable, and from environmental perspective, since of course everything shall always be for good, cannot really create issues from sustainability perspective. So this is the way we are managing innovation.
Thank you, Rossella. Antonia, if you want to answer this question.
Sure. Like Ericsson was saying as well, we are obviously also innovating in our processes, how we work internally. That's what's allowed us to reduce our CO2 emissions by half, because we've become more efficient. We are innovating in how our logistics, in our manufacturing, in our operations in general. But when it comes to our products, that's probably the innovations that are more interesting to consumers in general, rather than what happens behind the scenes. So here we're obviously looking at innovations both from a packaging point of view. How can we use renewable materials? We're working with some very interesting suppliers to find various bioplastics or paper and board and renewable materials that we can use instead of fossil materials. So there's lots of type of packaging innovations coming our way right now, which are very interesting. And then on the ingredients and raw materials side, it's really for us about finding how we can use natural ingredients, but use science to innovate the natural ingredients so you get the best of nature through using advanced science. So right now we're looking very much at working with a couple of small Swedish suppliers, for example, to get the best antioxidants in some of our wellness products by innovating from natural Swedish raw materials. We're also looking at cosmetics ingredients, how we can innovate cosmetics ingredients to use natural ingredients without harvesting in nature, but synthetically creating natural ingredients. So moving away from synthetic towards natural through innovation to get the best products or ingredients in our products. So on a number of different levels, but without innovation, we won't get anywhere, basically.
Clearly, without innovation, there is no evolution.
No, we have to think different.
No change possible.
Yeah.
Julia, if you want to answer this question, is our final...
Yes, sure. Yes, sure. Very quickly. I know we're over the time, but as I touch upon the innovation in my presentation, I just want to say that, yes, we have a Global Change Award every year under this platform, which is a support of H&M Foundation. We are encouraging 3 main innovations through this platform. So I encourage everyone also to look into globalchangeaward.com, the website, where with this platform we have managed to reach out new innovations, new ideas, such as orange material or grape leather. These were all coming from these platforms. So we encourage a lot, and we believe, as I mentioned, if we think about our targets 2030, it's not possible only with the existing material we can achieve to be 100% recycled and sustainably sourced material target in 2030. So innovation is the key there, and we really encourage everyone to also reach us and support this idea through a Global Change Award platform. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just one comment. Sorry, I was just going to give H&M some credit. I visited your loop machine in your company the other day. So
really?
Which is a machine that looks at recycling, which I guess the question was previously, recycling fabrics and turning them into new fabrics through one machine.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I think you guys are doing some, as is Ericsson, some very interesting things.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. I think there are many other things you would like to add, and I'm sure that the dialogue will continue even after this webinar and after this meeting, because our audience is very, very interested in your efforts and how can we apply and import them in Romanian businesses, and how can we be more sustainable than we are. It's clear that the pandemic context will slow the strategies of every and each company, but it's something that we have to probably work even harder than until now. So I would like to thank you, and if there is something you would like to add to your presentations, if not, it's good to know that our meeting is reached its end, and probably if the audience would like to know more, we will give them the websites and the links and probably your email. If they will request this, we will contact you even after the webinar. So if you have any final thoughts, now is the moment.
Thanks a lot. It was really, great to share our experience each other from different sectors, and really thanks my colleagues into this panel. So really interesting. Thank you.
I would second that. Thank you very much. Very interesting. But I would question the fact that the pandemic is stopping everything, because I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing that we're actually getting it's an opportunity for many companies to do things differently. So I'm not necessarily thinking that the pandemic is stopping the work here. I think we have a shot at moving this quickly despite the pandemic.
I agree with your comments. Yes, we as a company also think the same. As in the last word I was trying to say, in future it showed that it is even more important than ever. So and it will not stop. It will maybe fasten even in some areas to take the leaps and go for it. So yeah, thank you very much for inviting us this panel. It was great to see that everyone has a great agenda, and yeah, for sure we can share the links, we can share the necessary information with the participant later on. Thank you, Nicoletta.
Thank you all, and I would like to add a final thanks to the Embassy of Sweden in Bucharest for making this possible. It was a real pleasure and very inspiring to meet you and to hear you all. So thank you, and hope to see you next. Bye.
Bye, thank you.